Hey everybody, excuse my voice a little bit. I have a little bit of a cold, um, and that my eyes are really itchy too. So my eyes look a little watery today. Um, but I wanted to make a video about my TBR shelf, which is right here. This is like my sci-fi dystopian shelf over here. These are my Star Wars shelves, my Bad Batch guys, and just other Star Wars things over there. But we're not going to worry about that. And I thought I would start off with what I'm currently reading, which I am still in process with The Hobbit here by Tolkien. Um, Still in process because I had picked up some books from the library and I always prioritize library books because I'm a slow reader. So this has been on the back burner at the moment because I just finished The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Hennig. This book was great, by the way. I loved every minute of it. It was so much fun to read. If you like The Princess Bride at all, movie or book or whatever, you will absolutely catch all of the little things in here because it was very inspired by The Princess Bride, and you can definitely see that. Um, there's one section like for those who know The Princess Bride, especially that's a call out where the leading man, Luca, here is mostly dead, so it's fantastic. I think the last part of the book was actually my absolute favorite part. So it starts out with, her in her kingdom of Ardinia, and then she goes on a journey to find Luca because Luca gets kidnapped while the other kingdoms are trying to make a play for her hand because she is now the sole heir to Ardinia, and the other kingdoms want in on that. So one particular kingdom, which is Pyrene, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I pronounce it. Pyrene wants her hand and has the bachelor that is closest in age to her, and his name is Renard. His brother is Tylifer or Ty. I call him Ty. And his brother calls him Ty, so that's why I call him Ty. But she ends up, instead of accepting any contract for marriage, she goes after Luca into the Torrent, which is like this desert place. And though the Torrent was interesting, a lot of it kind of felt like it dragged on for a while. Like, it's not like stuff wasn't happening, but like after she rescued Luca, I kind of wish they just hightailed it out of there and like it was just boring to me. I liked the last half especially, and they did get out of there. I mean, it's not like they didn't, but there was just more stuff in the mix. But my favorite part was when Renard and his cohorts caught up with them, and then it kind of started this whole him forcing her into marriage thing, and that was just it was beautiful. Not that he was forcing her into marriage, but the drama that happened and the plotting that happened and all of the stuff that happened in that part of the book, fantastic. Um, yeah, so I would definitely suggest picking this up. And there is an epilogue, which obviously leads into the next book, which I am so excited to read. Um, yeah, anyway, I would definitely, if you, and it is a clean romance, there is nothing spicy, just smooching. And it's pretty tame smooching, in my opinion. So it's a clean romance, fantasy, adventure, drama, Princess Bride adjacent. It's really great. So I would definitely suggest that for you. And then, I'm, as I said, The Hobbit, reading this, but I have slowed down because I just finished reading that, and of course I prioritize my books. So that I will be picking up again. And I also did start the Royal Heirs Academy. I've read 4 chapters of it. Um, in literally the prologue, I caught a what's it called? A typo with one of the names, and I was like, "Oh, we have a typo in the prologue." It happens. I'm not judging anyone for that. Like literally almost any book you can find a typo if you look hard enough. But I do like it so far. It's pretty much what I thought. It's there's not a lot of depth to it. I'm hoping as it goes on, there's going to be more depth to it. But right now, I guess we're just kind of meeting the characters. So it's kind of like, okay, I mean, I see the caricatures that she's making. She's giving, she's putting things in that's part of their personality. But it all feels a bit like, just like slapped in your face, not like me learning about it. Like, I don't know. Anyway, but I like how this is raised. Anyway, sorry. But it's fun and a little bit ridiculous at the moment. So, but I'm sure there's going to be more drama, more stuff as it goes on, which I'm really looking forward to getting into, because at the moment with like the meetings and greetings that are going on, it's kind of like, okay, this I'm hoping it picks up. That's all I'm saying. But it's fun so far. It's fun. And then I also just started reading Like a River by Granger Smith, which is autobiography, kind of, or just a biography about Granger Smith and how he overcame grief with help from the Lord. Um, he lost his son, River, in a tragic drowning accident, and he kind of lost all of what he understood to be true and was getting eaten up by guilt and things like that. And then Jesus met him where he was at and brought him out of that dark place. And now he's an entirely different person, which, that's really what God does for us. And I'm kind of in a place where I'm working through some grief, old grief, by the way, because sometimes if you don't work on it at the time, you got to live with it for a while. So I am currently in process with that. So I feel like this book is kind of meeting me where I'm at, and it's probably going to make me cry a lot. So I'm really looking forward to it. I actually got this book from an event where his wife was. So his wife, Amber, got to sign my book, which was really awesome. She's an amazing lady. And honestly, I'm really impressed that that he wrote this book and that they share, continue to share River's legacy. His 3 years of life made a huge impact. And, that's the beauty of our creator, right? Of God, like how he can use us to create such an impact in life, even for even when we're here just for a small time. And it's not to say that it's not heartbreaking what happened. Obviously, it is. Obviously, when we live in this world that is corrupted by sin, that we are going to grieve and we are going to be sad and we are going to lose things that it shouldn't have happened, right? And it should never happen. And one day it won't. One day we are finally going to be in a place where it will never happen. And right now, that's where River is. River is home with his father God, and that's the most beautiful thing of them all. But until that day comes, until Jesus comes back, we're going to experience grief. And but as long as we have our Savior with us, when you put your trust in Jesus, you will overcome. So that being said, let's check out the other books that I have. So I have determined, oh, and I'm sorry, there's like paperwork here. Don't look at that. There's like just papers shoved into this particular one. Um, and my music player. It's not pretty. But I've determined that I'm not getting any more books out of the library until I finish what's on my TBR, because this is stuff that I've had for years, some of it. So I'll just go here first. Obviously, I have Les Mis. I mean, this is a brick of a book, okay? And look at how small the words are, okay? It's not going to be easy. I actually started it. Oh, man, I bought this when the movie came out, the movie musical came out with Hugh Jackman, because I really got into Les Mis then. I don't know if I think I'd seen the production before, but I really got into it then. And I mean, I love this production. I've seen it so many times. But I really, really want to actually read this for real. And my goal is to start it when I'm done with The Hobbit and just work through it through the year, because I know this is going to take me a year to read. I just know it because I'm so slow at reading anyway, and I'm a bit of a mood reader, so I shift and I flow with the go. And I know like when the books come out that I'm looking forward to this year, like Sunrise on the Reaping and Snow Globe 2, and there's Snow Globe 1. Oops, can I do it? There's Snow Globe 1. When the second, I'm going to want to stop whatever I'm reading to read those. So this is going to be like my on the side for the year book eventually, is the plan. And then I've got a Christian book here by Joyce Myers, What About Me? Get out of your own way and discover the power of an unselfish life. I just feel like we're all selfish as human beings, and I don't want to be. I really want to work on being a good servant of God and servant of man. So I really wanted to read this book. So I actually bought it in a store that was having a going out of business sale. And I thought, you know what? I think we could all use a little bit of this because we as human beings are selfish by nature. So this is going to be probably after I read Granger Smith's book because I usually read something supplementary on the side of Christian reading. So we will probably pick that up. I'm looking forward to it. And then this I got years ago for Christmas, and I still haven't read it. My friend Anne Frank, The Inspiring and Heartbreaking True Story of Best Friends Torn Apart and Reunited Again Beyond All Odds. So I got this years ago for Christmas, and I've yet to read it. And I really want to. I love historical fiction, and I love historical biographies, and I love just historical books. And I just know, I think it's more, I've been waiting on the timing because I know this is going to wreck me. But yes, so this is definitely on the list. I don't know when I'm going to read it. I think I'm gonna really have to be in the mood for it, but yeah, it should be a good experience. So this is on the list. And we've got Lady Tan's Circle of Women, which I am really excited for. Oh, it has one of these stickers on. I didn't even notice that. I actually got this for free at a book like exchange thing. Um, but it was a book that I had heard a lot of good things about and that I really wanted to read, and I still really do want to read. I just haven't had the time to get there. We will get there this year, so I'm really looking forward to that. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it because I don't know anything about it. But I know that it's like historical fiction, and I love historical fiction, so we're down for it. And then, oh, this has been decades, dude. Why? Bitter Blue by Kristen Kishore. And it is a Graceling Realm book. It says it's a companion to Fire. I also did have Fire for a while there, but I ended up giving it away because that was another book that I just wasn't getting through and I didn't really vibe with. There was a lot of my cat. I was like, I'm hearing a crackling noise, and my cat just like came out of some corner of my closet. Okay. I love Graceling. The first book, Graceling, fantastic. I've read it, I think once all the way through, and I've started it again because I see a bookmark in there, but I probably won't finish it for a while because I've already read it. Um, but when I did read some of Fire, but there's a lot of like, not necessarily like spice on screen, but there's a lot of, it's like, because the main character is kind of like a siren. She's not a siren, but like her whatever race she is, and I don't remember anymore. It's been too long. Just makes men like be obsessed with her and like want her and like she can also like hear their thoughts or whatever, and that their thoughts are like horrifying. And like I read through most of it and I was just kind of grossed out by, and like I'm not saying it's not reality, but I'm saying I don't really want to read it. And I don't know if Bitter Blue is going to be like that. I know Bitter Blue is the little girl that is rescued in Graceling by the main character there, Katya. So I don't I don't know if this is going to be a lot different or whatever. And even if it is a companion to Fire, I don't really care. I didn't like Fire that much, so I'm gonna try and read it without it anyway. But it's a thick book. How many pages do we got? Oh, there's no page numbers. Oh no, there is. Oh, oh, we're over 500 pages. Well, I mean, if I can handle this, I think I can handle this. So eventually I will get to this. I don't have any plans for it, but we're gonna read Bitter Blue. Okay, that has literally been on my shelf for years, pre 2020. Okay, years. And then we've got J.R.R. Tolkien's The Fall of Numenor. I have read, obviously, The Silmarillion a few times, so I know The Fall of Numenor, but I picked up this. I love Christopher Tolkien's editions and his explanations for how his father wrote the books and things like that. So I'm really excited about reading this. I read the Buren and Luthien, I don't know if that's how you pronounce their names, but I read that version of the book that looks like this. I got it from the library, though. and that was awesome, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I will probably read this some point after The Hobbit because I feel like I'll be in a Lord of the Rings mood, but we'll see what happens. And then I've got uh, Real Not Perfect by Stephanie Coleman. This was another book that I got from that Christian bookstore that was going out of business. So this is a like teenager book, like a teenage range book. Now, I wouldn't say YA necessarily, probably more like young teen to maybe mid-teen, but it is a Christian book that is, or Christian fiction that is based on a girl that, she things are going really well in her life, and then suddenly, um, her parents are getting a divorce and they're having to move somewhere else, and like her life kind of starts falling apart, and how she handles that, and how her faith comes into play with handling these very real life issues. And so it just sounded really good to me, and I think that it's important, one day I want to have kids of my own, and I want them to be able to have, my cat is like obsessed with all my books. She's rubbing her face all over them. I want my kids to be able to have some really good books to read, and I'm not saying there's not going to be good books in the future. I'm sure there will be, but I like to read these too. They're a nice, fun, quick read, and um, so yeah, I don't know. I think this will be fun and a quick read. So I will probably read this very soon because again, quick read. Oh, my books are falling over now. Let me just stack them properly, maybe. Okay. And then we have got Return to the Isle of the Lost, which is a Descendants novel. If you don't know the Descendants, I really like the Descendants. It's a DCOMS, Disney Channel original movie about the children of villains and children of the heroes and villains of the Disney franchises, right? And I really thought it was fun. I love musical movies, and it's a musical movie, and I love the idea of like the descendants of said characters and things like that. Really, I've always thought that was fun. And I think the Descendants movies, though cheesy and ridiculous, really had a lot of good to offer, especially since the main message is how these kids who were raised by evil villains want to be good because good is better, because good is, being kind and being loving to each other is better than being hateful and trying to ruin people's lives. And that's an amazing message to have. So I always really liked it, and even in the most recent one, because they had a trilogy with these characters. Um, and then unfortunately, I think they were planning on doing more, but unfortunately, one of the members of the group, Cameron Boyce, he passed away from a epileptic seizure, and they decided that they were going to stop the series right then and there. Of course, understandably so. It was a really sad day. He was a very sweet young man. From what I knew, obviously, I only know him from behind a screen and interviews and things like that, but he was very sweet and very passionate about helping other people. So when he passed away, they stopped this particular series, but they recently started another one, which is Descendants Rise of Red, which is about the daughter of the Queen of Hearts. So you still have like the good, the evil kids versus the good kids kind of thing. And but the thing about Red, which I really liked, is that she's not really evil. Like, unlike the kids that were in this who were raised to be evil and they were like bullies and things like that before they realized that they wanted to be good, and that when they came outside of the Isle of the Lost, they realized, oh, I can be good. Like, I can be changed. I don't have to be what I was raised to be. Beautiful message, by the way. But Red doesn't really want to be bad. She's just kind of acting out in her kingdom out of a desire to be loved. And her whole motivation, though she's very like guarded in so many ways, is this desire to be loved and to love people, because she never really wants to go along with her mother's schemes or anything like that. So like, to me, she's not a villain kid. To me, she's more like just a wayward child that wants to be loved, which can relate, right? And because even like one of the songs, like the lyrics for it is like, I'm just a girl, my arms open wide, looking for love somewhere in your eyes. Like, she just wants to be loved. And I love this messaging that like, you don't have to be what your nature says you are. Because that, as Christian, That's absolutely what Jesus tells us. You don't have to be what your nature says you are. You can be changed by the goodness of God. So anyway, I love that message. This is Return to the Isle of the Lost, which is the second book in the series. I actually found this book on the ground. Like there's like some sort of errant sticker on it that I haven't been able to get off and like things like that. And it's all like the cover's all wibbly because it was in the rain. Okay. It was a book that had been abandoned in the rain. And I was like, and I picked it up because it's like if I find an abandoned puppy or an abandoned like book or like I'm just the kind of person that like picks up things off the side of the road. Okay. So anyway, I found this book in the rain on the ground and I picked it up and I adopted it. But I actually do really want to read it because I really do like the Descendants series because I think it has elements that are really good. And this is based on the second movie, which was really fun. The second movie has the best music, in my opinion. So yeah, we're gonna read this. I think it'll be fun to read that. And then, oh, this was a thrift store find. Oh yeah. Um, it's called Gamer Army. Okay, look at that cover, babe. That is fantastic. I love going to thrift stores. I've never heard of this book before in my life. And basically, what it seems like, it's kind of like, and now mind you, I haven't read Ready Player One or Ender's Game, but it kind of feels that vibe where there's some sort of contest and these guys are using virtual reality equipment. They're brought in for some sort of contest, but then like it seems like the enemies that they're fighting in this video game are actually like acting weird and acting real and they don't know what actually is going on, and so things start getting sus. So it sounds like some billionaire or something, or whoever made this video game is using children to fight and wage some kind of war. Um, Again, don't ask me. I have no idea, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna read this at some point. Thrift store find, dude. I think I got it for like $1. Like, what? This is gonna be great. I can't wait. It's gonna be silly. I can't wait. All right. And then we've got more historical fiction here with Resistance by Jennifer A. Nielsen, which I'm really looking forward to. I've already read Lines of Courage by her. Oh, my books fell down. Lines of Courage was based on World War One and it followed different people living during that time. This is following World War II and the Jewish resistance fighters during that time. I am so looking forward to reading this. In fact, I picked this one up pretty early on once I really realized that I like Jennifer Nielsen's style of writing. Um, it's going to be a heavy book, I know. So, but I'm really looking forward to it. And, you know, even though she does broach heavy topics, she always does so in a way that, you know, this is supposed to be like a middle reader book. Um, so even though she doesn't shy away from the truth, she does it in a way that doesn't like completely break your brain, you know, and make you like devastated. Even though it is devastating, it's just gently done. So I think I'll be able to read this probably anytime. I'm really looking forward to it, like I said. Um, and we'll get here. I don't know when, but we're gonna get here when I'm in the mood for some historical fiction. And then these two fell down. Oh yeah. Well, obviously, you know, I got Red Rising for my birthday, and I am gonna be reading this. I don't know why I decided to read the Royal Air Academy first. I think I just wanted something a little silly because I know this is gonna be sad. But we're gonna get to some dystopia. Probably pretty soon. I'm gonna need some dystopia. And then of course I got the Mockingjay. Look at this. Woo! I've never had a book with sprayed edges before, and not that I don't put a lot of like special editions or anything like that. I don't put a lot of weight to them or anything, but I don't actually own. I've never actually read the Mockingjay. It's so weird because like when the movies started coming out was when I started reading the Hunger Games. In fact, I have the Hunger Games up there. You see the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and then the Hunger Games right next to it. But and I read Catching Fire. I bought it, I got it from the library. I never bought it, but I read Catching Fire. Um, but that was as far as I read, and then I stopped after the movie. Like I don't know, I was just like, I'll just watch the movies, I guess. But now I'm like, no, look at this pretty version. Look at this. It's so pretty. I'm gonna get this pretty version of the Mockingjay and I'm gonna read it because I've never read it before. So that was my reason for buying this pretty version because I refused to buy doubles of books that I already have. So I wasn't going to buy the Hunger Games. And I could have bought Catching Fire, but I couldn't afford to buy it at the time. I couldn't afford to buy both at the time, I should say. So, because I don't own Catching Fire. But I was like, you know what? I've read Catching Fire. I already know what happens in Catching Fire. Not that I mean, I know what happens in all of them. But like, I've never actually read The Mockingjay, so I decided to buy The Mockingjay. So here we are. So I'm gonna own The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Hunger Games, and The Mockingjay, and that's it. Maybe one day I'll get Catching Fire. I don't know. But so we are gonna read The Mockingjay. Probably I was planning on reading it before Sunrise on the Reaping came out. That's not gonna happen. I just already know it. I already have too many books going at the same time. But and by the way, everything is gonna stop. I don't care where I am. Everything is gonna stop when Sunrise on the Reaping comes out. I am picking up that book right away and I'm reading it right away. Um, but yeah, so we are going to be reading this one, and this is the first one that, yeah. So anyway, again, I don't put a lot of emphasis on sprayed edges, but it is really pretty. I really like it. It's really nice. Again, this is the only one that I own that looks like this. Most of the time, like I said, I don't care. It's all good. But it's pretty to have one special edition book. It's fun. So yeah, then when Sunrise on the Reaping comes out, which I think is March 18th, I will be stopping everything to read that and definitely give you my thoughts on that. I think it's going to be amazing. Um, I'm sure we'll get a movie out of it. And then when Snow Globe 2 comes out, I will stop everything to read that, but that's not until May 29th, I want to say. And this is Snow Globe 1. Fantastic book. I like I said, I really love this. It reads kind of like a K drama, but it's very good. And there's a lot of things like when it came to the end of the book, I was like, huh, this kind of wrapped up really well. Like, what? It felt like it ended. Like, obviously, it ended with like kind of a cliffhanger, or just at least not a cliffhanger, but an obvious like we're going into the next book kind of a thing, but it felt like a lot of the issues were wrapped up. But then when I like went back and was like, oh wait, they didn't answer that question, and they didn't answer that question, and they didn't answer that question. So like there's still things that I'm hoping will be wrapped up in the next book. And right now I don't think it has any other name than Snow Globe 2. I don't know if it's gonna have another name, but it doesn't really matter either way. So this is by Park So Young. She's amazing. She's so fun. And again, the whole idea of this book, and don't listen to this. I hate this. It says The Hunger Games meets Squid Game. It is not The Hunger Game meets Squid Game. It is not. It is not. It's more like because the whole situation is that like there is the world has frozen over. That's the apocalypse that has happened. The world has frozen over, but there is one location in which it is temperature controlled, which is Snow Globe. Okay, but the only thing is, if you want to live in Snow Globe, you have to become an actor or a director or a producer or something like this, and your entire life, if you are an actor, is on screen for the frozen masses to watch, until they write you out or you lose your position or you die. Okay, so um, it's kind of more of a Big Brother than Hunger Games or Squid Games. Like, I don't know. I've never watched Squid Games, so I actually don't know. But I would say that it's more like a Big Brother situation where, it's like, oh, these people get like all they want. They can have all the food that they get luxuries, but your life is going to be monitored 24/7 and you're playing a character for, until the end of time. Like one woman, or until you get kicked out, because that can happen too. One woman in here was like, and I can't remember entirely because it's been like a year since I've read this book. But her whole shtick was that her her show, which is her life, by the way, was a murder detective drama, but she was the murderer. So she was going around murdering people, real people, for the show. And then at one point, I think she got caught and then got kicked out because she ends up outside of Snow Globe. But like her life was ruined because that was like what the people wanted. And nobody trusted her, obviously, because she's a murderer. And she really murdered people for the show to live in a temperature controlled environment. so she didn't feel like frozen to death all the time. I mean, it just kind of shows you the depths of like human depravity or the desire for comfort or how people exploit people's desire for comfort and things like that. And obviously, we have a main character whose name I wish I could remember. Oh gosh, my book. Chobam. Chobam. All of them have Korean names, and I love that, by the way. But Chobam, she is living on the outside with her twin brother and her grandmother. But then she ends up getting into the snow globe because there's a horrible thing that happens to one member of a show, and she looks eerily similar to that member of the show. So she gets roped into it so that the show doesn't stop and nobody is suspicious of what happened to this girl, because the show is like the most popular show of all time, because it's kind of um like a it's more like a reality show, like just for like think like the Kardashians, or those shows that kind of just show the life of a person. And that's what this girl show was. So it's extremely popular because it just seems like, oh, she's our friend, all of that parasocial relationship happening with the people on the outside, things like that. So she ends up getting roped into it, and then she sees like snow globe is not what you think it is. um this is a great book. Okay, I think it was a 4-star for me because again, some of the stuff felt a little bit like, but near the end, when I thought like I had figured out the mystery, I did not figure out the mystery. I was like, oh, this is where we're going with this? That's insane. Anyway, good book, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he continues this story because, other than answering some questions, which I'm looking forward to hearing the answer to, I don't know where more they will go with it. I'm sure it'll just be like answering questions and like figuring out why Snow Globe sucks and why is it so depraved and all this stuff. But we will see. Anyway, so that is my to be read, my all of my to be reads. I'm really looking forward to reading them and sharing them with you eventually once I read them. And I think that's it. So we're just going to leave that there. I hope you guys enjoyed. And what is on your to be read list for the year or for the month or whatever? Do you have a certain genre? Are you getting ready for the Hunger Games book, the Sunrise on the Reaping, by rereading? I know a lot of people are rereading the old Hunger Games books. Or are you preparing for something else? Is something else coming out in March that I don't even know about? Tell me your faves. All right. Have a good day, guys. Remember that I love you, but Jesus loves you more. And I hope you have a good day. All right. Bye.